very, very sorry for that. Not too sure what's happening there, but Patrick Fargar, I know what's happening with him. He's extending his lead even further. Is it back? Is the stream back? Please give me an A-OK if the stream is back and up and running. Not sure what happened there. It was all fine on my end, but the comments weren't as positive. What are people saying? Please in Zurich. I don't know what that means. But Alfam, I know that. What on earth, Alfam? That may just be. Ooh, that was interesting. That wasn't natural. I'm gonna let other people look at that. I'm not gonna say anything, but that was a bit dodgy, Alfam. And then, thankfully, the ghosting system working as intended. Reload Deer pitting for a set of the medium compound. Apparently, this racetrack is drying. I'm not seeing any evidence of it. But so is Ennis pitting onto the medium compound. Yeast as well. People taking the leap. Mediums for Temesis. What about for everyone else? Mediums for Emery. Mediums for Linus. This track is getting dry. That is good to see. Morgonius opting for the hard compound. I'm not sure it's going to work. I think he'll be a bit slow. But we're going to find out if these drivers have been playing with wet setups for this race. Such as Patrick Fargo, who's losing his lead. He was 20 seconds ahead. Now only 0 when everything gets done. Temesis fixing his front wing, falling down to P5. Alex Wells stuck behind. Goes to P10. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to say anything about Alfam, but that was dodgy driving. But Alfam knows it. Alfam knows more than me, so hopefully it was just an innocent mistake. So the only person to stay on the intermediate so far is Fabrizio, who I imagine will be pitting now. And we have a mid-race interview in the building. Mr. P14.
Yeah! Probably
Yeast,
not let go of the wheel.
Without swearing, how are you feeling?
Yeah. Not ideal, safe to say, you know. Spinning twice, you know, losing your wing twice. You know, still P13 now. It's alright, gonna catch up. Yeah, I think I'm still gonna win this race.
It's possible. I mean, you haven't been lapped, as far as I'm aware.
No?
So that's a good start. Plenty of people lapped, including Alfam. I know in qualifying, you qualified P9, if I'm correct. So you do
10,
have
I
pace.
think.
It was 9 or 10. You have the pace to improve. I know you have the pace to improve. It'll be good to see if you can do it. I don't know. You know, you've been so far back that you may have been able to just monitor what was happening ahead.
To be fair, my pace has sort of been the same as the leaders, really. Just a minute behind them.
So it's not a great place to start, but
Yeah, now I'm not going to be a minute behind them.
And you're not going to have, even more importantly, you don't even have time penalties. So you can gain from the people ahead. Who do you think's going to win this race, though? Are you going to
Me.
bet on yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Reloader's going to crash, because he always does.
I'm not so sure he does, but
Apo's going to crash because he does. Like you don't have an F3 race without an Apo crash.
uh,
See? You're near
he's
enough
finished.
agreeing with
He's
me.
finished 3 of the races.
Yep.
Sorry,
Now,
he's
how
no, no,
many is he
he's
not?
no. He's not finished 3 races. Is what I meant to say.
Yeah, he's an incident magnet, though. I say that as
Possibly.
I'm driving right
I
up behind him.
I am a neutral, so. But Apo will be watching this stream most likely, furious at
Apo,
what you've
look
just
behind
said.
you!
But yeah, it's a shame that we didn't do the mid-race interview when you were in a competitive position, but you are now, so you weren't competitive beforehand, were you? You're a minute behind.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah,
safety
that's
car's
not.
bound to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, true. I
Now
mean,
I'm gonna finish P4.
we did
Alright,
have
safety car in, bye.
safety car in. Goodbye. Enjoy the race.
I won't. Leave this thing. Come on, bye.
Bye. That was Macaulay Beard coming in. Audio's not sounding too great. Oh god, let me get the audio sorted. No. Okay. Hello. Okay, we're back. Getting ready for this safety car restart. Patrick Farger, very late to go. Coming out of the final corner, and he has jumped Captain Emre. Captain Emre not able to battle for position. Linus staying in P3. Boyman in an incredible P4 currently. Followed by Tomesis, who's getting a little bit angsty on the throttle, trying to make the overtake work immediately. Not working. Attack behind us. Tomesis gets another 3-second time penalty. It's going to be 6 seconds for him. But going round the inside, the outside of Boyman, and it spins him round. Oh no. Oh no, that might be a guaranteed penalty for Tomesis. Oh dear, that will be reported. Oh, what a shame. It was such a good race for Boyman. He was doing so well, and then down into P15. Oh no. But that promotes everyone up. Boyman loses the positions, but Morgonius claims them for F5. Heading into the final corner very slowly. People not trying to crash into each other. Good to see. Susie quite far down after losing positions behind Boyman in the pit stop phase. Getting overtaken by Porbeck. Not under threat from Alex Wells, however, good to see. Who is next for an overtake? Yeast, who we just spoke to. Ah! Nearly going into the back of Apo. Just about avoiding the collision. Apo lives to fight another day. Oh dearie me. Tomesis now battling Linus. Oh my god! Linus into the wall now. No front wing. That's going to be reported as well. That looked like some very argy-bargy fighting. Linus waiting for the cars ahead to go. Has left the session. I think that's going to be in rage. That may be penalised as his car drives around in circles, doing a 20-point turn. Not great to see. I'm going to yellow flag, and it's for Tomesis, who's finally spun around. Oh, a little bit of a dodgy rejoin, but we'll see about that later. Tomesis letting everyone through down into P13. This race was going so well, and it looks like after the safety car restart, he's lost his head ever so slightly. Boyman making up the overtake. It was his beforehand, and he's regained it. Apo letting Banks through, but we also got Alex Wells right behind Susie for P6, looking for another very interesting battle. And is Alex going to go for a dive? No, not quite. He's playing it a little bit safer than before. Banks very close to being overtaken by Apo. Well, Boyman getting a 3-second time penalty. It was only going to hurt his chances of recovering. Apo A very bad cut of that corner gets a 3-second penalty, possibly a straight penalty, may I add. Crossing the curb, getting the DRS, however, it's been activated. Boyman overtaking Fabrizio. So does Tomesis, and is Fabrizio letting people through? I just want to see if Fabrizio is Fabrizio battling people, or is he letting them through? No, I'm not so sure. Either way, Susie and Gio side by side through the hairpin. Oh, Gio squeezing him just a little bit. Susie having to pull out, and then there's Banks going around the outside, getting the DRS. Susie also under pressure from Apo here. This is really not being a good lap for him. Is Apo going to go for the move? No, thinks better of it. Good stuff. Good to see Fabrizio being overtaken by Ennis now. Apo looks like he may go for an overtake, but so is Yeast, using all of the ERS to the inside of turn 1, becomes the outside of turn 2. He might get a better exit, but Apo goes very wide, cuts off Yeast, and but Yeast to the inside of turn 3. And Yeast gets a time penalty, then there's a bit of a collision. Apo letting the position through now, giving up. Fantastic little battle there between Yeast and Apo. Yeast did say it would be a good battle. As Tomesis spins out once more. Does he have wing damage? Not quite, not visible wing damage at least. But doesn't look fantastic. As Yeast and Apo are so close to each other, and Apo may even go for a dive into the hairpin. Does he do it? No, thinks better of it. Is going to get the DRS for the casino straight. A little bit far behind, not the best exit, but that DRS is going to help him quite a bit. We're sea level here. Low to the ground. Lots of air going through that wing. DRS is very powerful in Canada, to say the least. Yeast weaving a little bit. Apo not able to make the move stick on lap 24, but we have 11 more laps to go, and these tyres can definitely go to the end. And Patrick Farger, this has been such a performance as Tomesis spinning around again. Oh dear, this has been really unfortunate for Tomesis. This was a race where he could have extended his championship lead. Well, could have gained the lead of the championship. It's just not quite meant to be, I don't believe so. Everyone very excited in the chat. I'm not too sure. Cameron had a little bit of an incident himself, but one incident. Let's not get too carried away with ourselves. Horbeck right on the back of Alex Wells. Using the DRS. No ERS, however. ERS gives a bit of a boost to the car. Horbeck does not have that boost, so the overtake is a little bit further. Laxa rejoining the session now. So he will take control of the car again. He's 27 seconds behind P14, however. We defend boring Boyman all the way. I'm not sure Boyman wants that support, in all honesty. I think Boyman would like a little bit of a better nickname. I mean, I know it's a compliment, sorta. I mean, it's boring because he's so good. But there's a better way of saying it. It's uncompetitive is the word, I believe. As Alex Wells getting overtake done on Morgonius, who's, speaking of F5, Morgonius has been fantastic. Those hard tyres not quite working as of yet, but near the end of this race, who knows? But Morgonius is sticking with it. He has no time penalties. A really good position is on the cards here, and I'm not joking. Nevertheless, though, Morgonius getting the DRS, not going to be able to do anything with it, but it does allow him to defend from Porbeck, who in turn is defending from Banks, and Banks easy move into the final set of corners. Porbeck really not sure why he... Okay, he was using the DRS. It looked like he wasn't for a second. Maybe he was accepting the inevitability of that overtake and playing it very smart, playing it composed, which is a good way to go about things, in all fairness. Banks now on the back of his junior teammate, and Banks, you'd imagine, has the legs to make the overtake stick. It'll be tight, but it's certainly doable. Getting the DRS here. Does Morgonius have the DRS? Yes, he does. Good to see. Good to see. More battles brewing in the midfield. But Morgonius now falling out the DRS range of Alex Wells. It's beginning to look like a step he can't overcome. This move may just be as inevitable as Paulbeck predicted it to be. Susie in the background, just about catching up to Paulbeck as well. So that'll be a thrilling battle when it happens. But Banks to the outside of the final turn, gets the overtake done immediately. Morgonius playing it safe, letting Banks through. Morgonius, a very, very composed drive here from the F5 driver, accepting when he's beaten, so that he doesn't get beaten anymore. That is really good to see, and it's a really intelligent way to approach your racing. Sometimes playing it safe, losing one position is better than losing 10 or 5 or however many positions it is. You're staying in the points, you're going to get a good position, and he's like that. Paulbeck up next, who also looks very fast for an overtake, but with a 3-second time penalty, may not be able to completely jump Morgonius, especially when Susie is behind, ready to attack at any second. Let's get the laptop on. Let's get the standings done. Currently, Banks, if I'm correct, Banks has 10 points. Yes, he does. Which would see him close up to 15 points of Tomesis. Meaning, with 5 rounds to go after this event, it's looking very feisty. Speaking of Tomesis, he's spun once more, entering the first DRS straight. I feel bad for him. Susie getting a 3-second time penalty as well. Oh dear, but he's going to make good use of it, getting an overtake done on Paulbeck to the inside of turn 1. Is it going to be? Ooh! Nearly takes out Morgonius, but just about keeps it on track around the outside of Paulbeck. Fantastic stuff. That was an incredible overtake, bringing Yeast into the fold as well. And now Morgonius, even more drivers on his rear, ready to make the overtake stick, as Alex Wells gets another 3-second time penalty. That's now 6 for him, I believe. Really, really hurting his chances of making this race one to remember. Susie, 4 attempts behind, 7 laps to go. When is he going to make the overtake stick? And is he going to break away from the men behind? It's going to be tight, but it's certainly doable. And Apo also getting into the DRS now. This is becoming a big battle for P6 here. 5 drivers in the mix. Boyman also not too far behind. Not sure what happened to Ennis. Didn't see him in any incidents, but clearly something happened. Susie to the inside of the final corner. Breaks a bit later than Morgonius and gets the move done. Uses the DRS to fly away. Paulbeck held back a little bit by Morgonius. And now Yeast, the next man, to go for the overtake into turn 1. Gets the inside line. Oh, a little bit of a push. Not too serious though. And Yeast secures P8. Paulbeck falling down the order. Just cannot get past Morgonius. Seems to be slowed behind him as Yeast gets another 3-second time penalty, further hurting his chances. Penalties are going to be very important here. So Mats, I'm gonna give you a wish. I'm going to show you the penalties. And there you go. 9 seconds for Paulbeck. That is really going to hurt him. Even if he stays in this position, he may not stay here on track. Oh, sorry, provisionally. As Apo with a fantastic move down the inside of Paulbeck into P9. That is a really good move, capitalising on Paulbeck's mistake. And Apo also on a charge of his own. And Morgonius, credit to him, keeping within the DRS of Susie. Maybe these hard tyres have been on for, I want to say, 14 laps now. Morgonius is really sticking with it. Oh, actually nearly losing the car. And while that happened, Alex Wells making the overtake on Edsack, Banks catching up. Morgonius so nearly a victim of a crash here. Not quite losing out though. Yeast to the inside of turn 3, however, breaks a little bit later. Clean move actually, and Morgonius settles for P8. Paulbeck keeping the position on Apo. Apo going to have to go for a battle once more. But you can see Paulbeck is flashing. Paulbeck flashing means that Apo has the confidence in the car. He knows when to push, make the overtake stick. When is it going to be? As Morgonius actually goes a bit wide. Oh dear. I don't know if that was a push. I don't think so, but Morgonius goes wide. Paulbeck finally gets ahead. And Apo breaks. Apo on the grass, breaks a little bit later than you should. Slides across, but doesn't take out Morgonius. That's what you want to see. Okay, that's good to see. It was nearly dangerous. It wasn't quite. And Morgonius falling down the order just a little bit every lap. But it's been a good battle nevertheless as Banks finally gets in to P4. Edzak falling behind. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We get a yellow flag. Who's it for? It's Tamesis once more. No. I think the Tamesis may have rear wing damage because this has been excessive, just how bad driving's been. But he doesn't have a front wing, so that does explain some of it. As Apo making the overtake on Morgonius. Which it makes sense. That makes sense. What does that mean? Morgonius now finally falling down the order, but with all of these time penalties, points are not out of the question. And you've got to give him credit. One of the cleanest drivers on this circuit. It's really good to see. I'm really happy to see it. Tamesis pitting for a new front wing. Linus pitting for, I believe, fastest lap. Am I correct? Yep, no front wing change. He's just getting on the new set of tyres. Intelligent thinking there. If you get fastest lap, you get a point for it. So it's better than nothing, I suppose. Relo Dia absolutely running away with things at the front of the field, however. Completely unstoppable. No shame in saying that. Linus coming out into lap traffic. So does Tamesis. So hopefully they let people through when they're supposed to. Tamesis, no one really behind him for now, apart from, I want to say, Susie. Yes, Susie leading the second train. Tamesis, on the other hand, right behind Susie. Oh, well, Susie's actually completely broken away from the guys behind. That's interesting to see. Okay. Tamesis warming up his tyres to go for another lap, but it doesn't matter if he has to have blue flags to the guys behind, so I hope he lets them through. Yes, he does. Very, very good driving here from Tamesis. Very, very intelligent to let the people through. Linus, however, thinks there's enough of a gap between him and Susie that he can go for a flying lap, which is partially true in all fairness. No, Tamesis, what you did, mate. Not the best place to let people through, but it worked. And it's Linus here. Linus is actually catching up to the guys ahead, so if he was to drive through him, that would be a loss for him. I hope it doesn't happen. But Linus knows how important it is not to drive into another car during blue flags. As a steward himself, he knows it's important. He may have to back off here, which is really unfortunate. He's begging for a safety car, but with 2 laps remaining, the safety car won't come. We are racing to the end very, very early. And does he drive through Edzak? Yes, he does. But he is doing it as lifelike as possible, admittedly. So that's interesting. Okay. I don't think this is... No, this is not penalty worthy, actually. As long as... Oh, no, and he lets Edzak through again. Why? It may be reported, we'll see. But Susie falling down the order. What's happened here? He's lost control of the car coming out of the hairpin. He has front wing end plate damage. That is gutting for Susie. He was on such a good streak. Things were looking so promising for him. And now he's P11, down and out. Tamesis getting ready to go for one final flying lap. Oh, dearie, dearie me. It's not what you want to see. And Edzak and Linus, I'm not sure what's going on here with Linus, to be honest. It's like he wants to overtake, but he can't. Just don't then. Stop driving in front of him and then slowing him down. But the top three, the battle for P3, ignoring the penalties, is looking very tight here. Very tight as we come on to the final lap, just approaching now. Not Temesis, Alex Wells keeping ahead of Banks. It doesn't matter. No, he's running out of ERS. He's got the 6 seconds of time penalties. They may be removed, but that's not a guarantee. Coming across the final chicane, nearly losing the car into all the champions, but not quite. Everyone flashing here. Banks going for a move into turn one. No, thinks better of it. Very, very close. Emre falling into this gaggle of cars as well, it must be said. Emre is relying on Alex Wells to hold everyone up, which may happen. I'm not so sure. Pourbeck on 12 seconds worth of penalties now as Temesis gets the fastest lap. Just behind Susie, possibly using DRS to his advantage, which would be intelligent there. But now, the battle for P3 is getting very tight. As Ape gets another 3-second time penalty. Morgonius is possibly going to hold on to P6 here. I think it might be a bit tight, but we're going to see. Patrick Fargo coming around. Oh, heads Banks nearly crashing into Alex Wells. Not quite happening. Alex doesn't have the DRS here. Edsack, a podium may be out of the question for him unless Banks gets the final corner wrong. Patrick Fargo coming out of the final corner comes across to win the Canadian Grand Prix. Alex Wells holding on for P3. Edsack very close to the back of Banks. Banks not losing control of the car. Captain Emily comes P2, followed by Banks in P3. Edsack P4. Geo P5. Yeast coming across the line to finish P6. But is Morgonius going to beat him? It's going to be very tight. Very tight between Morgonius and Yeast. And Morgonius does it! For the man in F5 gets P6 and F3. Too many numbers for me to recall. That is beautiful stuff. Followed by Boyman in P8, another F5 success story today, I may say so. Followed by Apo P9 and Pourbeck just holding on for P10, even with his 12 seconds of time penalties. Susie comes across the line, P11 with Fabrizio very far behind, just coasting the car around the final corners to gain P12. Ennis comes across P13 and Linus and Temesis obviously already lapped. However, Temesis gets the point for fastest lap, and Captain Emre gets a point for for pole position, obviously. Duh. So, DNS, or are you doing it? I don't know if you're doing it. I don't think you're doing it, so I'll do it. We're not going to do interviews today because, as far as I'm aware, Emre Fargo and Banks are two people that don't do interviews, so there'd be no point asking them. But it's good to see them all. Very, very good race there, especially for the Hungarians. We've got 2 Hungarians in all of the Ero, especially on the PlayStation side. And we get P1 and P3 with Captain Emro making up the second position on that podium. Edsack, the Latvian, P4. Fantastic result from him in F4. Followed by Alex Wells and Morgonius. Yeast picks up P7, followed by Boyman, with Apo and Pourbeck finishing out the points paying positions. Susie, so close yet so far to getting P10. Followed by Fabrizio, and then Ennis and Laxa. Ennis, the final man on the final lap, with Laxa and Temesis being lapped, and Temesis getting the fastest lap, with Alfam, Iwan, Martin Lob, Paweł Misiak, and Clement Seferin not finishing this race. I have been your host, as always, Liam Cross, and it's important to note that yes, Banks gets 10 extra points. So if Banks is on 101 points, Temesis 117 points, Lockie Glau 132. We have 5 rounds left, and I must say, this championship is looking very interesting. But I hope you've enjoyed the stream. I hope your favourite driver did well or made you proud, whatever, whatever. Like the video if you've enjoyed it and subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a lot, gets us on the algorithm, and things like last week can be done again. Next time out, we'll be in France, where we'll also be doing a sprint race. So one-shot qualifying, a maybe 9-10 lap sprint, and then at the death, a 27 lap race. I'm excited. I hope you are. Yeah, and click the link in the description below. Join the Discord, join the races, join the fun, join the chats. I'm happy to see you around. But yeah, that's all from me. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope I see you next week. Bye.